able to watch right now, but
Let's see. Try it again.
for sure.
Stream configuration uncompatible.
That does not sound very encouraging.
It is not. We are in at least.
Oh, hey, we are live.
And
We are
then
live, ready to roll.
let me refresh the page, see if that fixed it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
seeing.
Stream is now excellent. Awesome. Okay. So that was confusing.
We very much apologize to anyone just tuning in. There were some technical difficulties earlier on, and so the pick and ban phase of this game did not get displayed, sadly. But we do at least have the compositions here to show you as they've been fully picked out, and we have a Nautilus pick. That's the last one that we didn't get to while we were busy fiddling around. Nautilus top lane, as that was actually a Gangplank flex. I mentioned it. It wasn't on stream, so there's no record of it, but I mentioned that that's a real
You
possibility.
did mention it. I
I've been
doubted
looking
it
to
a
push
little
it
bit. I
without
did
faith.
agree, but I was a little disagreement, or a little bit of a yeah. You're right. So we
Oh
get to
man,
see.
my crystal ball functions beautifully while no one's watching. God damn it. Effect vouches for me, right?
I vouch for you. I vouch for you. I believe.
All right.
I'm
Well,
a
you got any thoughts on these compositions now that they're fully put together?
let's see here. Very mobile comp coming out of one above. We're seeing the
Oh,
Hecarim, we're seeing the Zillion, we're seeing the Karma and the Sivir. So they're looking fast. And it's going to be a very scary Horsey and a very scary Gnar. Whereas the other side, they're very still a good comp. They have to disengage. They have front line, and they have gangplank barrels.
yeah, they've got quite a bit of damage, I'd say. Jin, Gangplank, and Elise offer a really powerful core of damage. And then they've got some good engage, as you mentioned, with the Nautilus and with the Gangplank ulti, and even Curtain Call coming out of Shadow Tortoise's Jin. But we do have about a minute and a half left on the delay. Now that the stream is broadcasting,
Yeah, it was
we
a little awkward because we're talking to ourselves for about a few minutes there. I'm glad we managed to work things out, though. I have no idea what caused it. I actually didn't fix anything. I just turned the stream on and off, basically. And
well,
so
that's half of fixing technical difficulties right there.
that's true
Is you turn it
enough.
off and then on again.
Absolutely. And on that note, we are going to spend this last minute on a small, tiny commercial break, and we'll be back as soon as we're in game, guys.
I smoke too much. I drink too much. I tell myself that I can't stop. We could see clearly now. 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 Clearly now. Clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly that I can't stop. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly see clearly now.
And here we are, the first game of the semifinals. Team one above facing off against Silver Snow.
And they are rushing into the rift, and one above, of course, is probably going to be rushing across the rift for the rest of this game, given their composition. Sivir, Karma, and Zillion with a Hecarim to boot. That is a spearhead with a horse at the front of it. Aw, only tier 4 mastery. Krakadon, you're disappointing. You're disappointing the stream. Everybody else has 5 or 6 or something. I think there was even a 7 mixed in there.
How disappointing.
Krakadon with a lowly level 4. It's okay. He'll make it more. He'll make it a little bit further. I don't know if you get mastery points from custom games. He may not get any from this match.
I would say no, probably, just from common sense, but you never know.
I think if it's like a balanced game, if it's a 5v5, then it actually does assign XP and IP and stuff. So I don't know why it wouldn't assign mastery, but it may not.
That is a logical way of thinking through. Yeah, it makes sense.
It would probably be a little bit too easy to farm mastery by like just getting 10 people and then allowing one team to run rampant, and then the next game the other team runs rampant and abuse of the system. So it probably doesn't.
Oh.
But one way or another, we're into a pause, and we get a little bit more time to talk about these compositions, which is kind of good because we didn't get through the full pick and ban phase on stream earlier.
That was a little bad, but yeah, we're here. We're able to see it now. While I was fiddling, I actually missed some of the picks because I was only half paying attention. And yeah, like I said, they're basically saying a really, really strong, fast disengage comp, or engage comp, I should say, coming out of one above.
I'm a little worried for Shangdi in the mid lane on this Zillion. It's a very powerful burst champ, but you're not going to really be able to stun up Joined too often because he's going to eat some oranges and BK. And he's also just got more presence in lane, you know? Like, Gangplank farms easier, he harasses more efficiently and effectively. Zillion lane's always worry me because Zillion has one damaging ability and then his horrible auto attack. So his laning phase is just never really all that easy to maneuver, and it takes a really skilled player to do so.
Absolutely. Is definitely in the average player versus average player matchup, I would definitely give the advantage to Gangplank in most cases. It takes an extremely skilled Zillion player to basically get out of lane phase safely or even ahead.
Yeah. And that's not to say it's impossible, you know. It's in his kit to do it, but you have to be really reserved about how you use your time bombs because you only have the one damaging ability. That is, I mean, it's sort of like 2 because you can reset it and fire it off again, but because you only have the one method of exerting damage into the lane, you very much have to make a clear choice as to whether or not you want to kill minions and push the lane, or whether you want to harass the opponent and get a health advantage. You really can't often do both, and if you chuck your bombs out too early, you can find yourself at a huge disadvantage if the opponent laner, this time Joined's Gangplank, chooses to go in for a trade right then. So
absolutely, and we're seeing that Joined has reconnected, so hopefully its unpause will stop shortly.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't harp on the Zillion lane that much further, but there's just one more point that I want to make that worries me even just a little further. It's that Shangdi is going with a teleport Zillion, which means you have even less combat capability because teleport is not a combat-oriented summoner spell. It's not necessarily a bad choice. Having a double teleport composition to match your opponent's double teleport composition is great, but it just means that he's going to be even less potent in the 1v1 against Joined.
Absolutely. And I think what's probably gonna we're gonna see that Shangdi in middle lane is probably gonna need some jungle assistance, I would imagine, depending on how skilled an opponent Joined is to see if he can apply the pressure.
Yeah, some of that may be equalized in top lane if we're just talking about the solo lanes, where Icy Dragon will likely have an advantage over Umbria. Nar is really good at bullying melee tanks. out of lane, and that is the bill which Nautilus fits through and through.
Absolutely. Nautilus can be very durable, but Nara is very good at destroying durable characters.
And it seems like the teams are just about ready, so we'll likely get out of our pause pretty quickly. Which is good, as we've just about exhausted the solo lanes in terms of theory crafting at the very least. Still had the duo lane to explore a little bit, and actually the camera swapping down here. Sivir Karma is a pretty common laning duo right now, if only because of the power it brings to teamfights and mid-game as a whole, which is what the game's kind of focused on nowadays. Speaking of, they're going for a little bit of an invade. Some good early damage, particularly coming out of Kaiser. Rashford goes dangerously low, but Shadow Tortoise is still taking up the front lines for his team. They are more than happy to get a few shots fired of their own. It looks like they're going to be forcing Shadow Tortoise back to base, and that's actually rather late to be basing, as the minions have already arrived to lane.
Absolutely. Kaiser still applying that pressure, forcing Epic Weirdo Kid to drag that Gromp a little away.
That's actually going to be quite an advantage for Pew Pew and Kaiser, as they're going to get the early XP lead, a few minions up as well, and just generally be able to get the first foot in the door in this lane.
Absolutely. And we're saying that they have already cleared that first wave out.
Indeed, and they're going to hit the level 2 rather quickly here. Pew Pew actually hitting it a little bit earlier than Kaiser, because Kaiser stuck around to harass the jungle even further. And they're going to try and deny as much farm as they can here under the turret. A few of these caster minions are going to be really difficult for Shadow Tortoise to get unless he has great use of the bouncing grenade, and he's already missed a good few. And that hit will put him back by 10 CS now, only 3 minutes into the match. And sometimes the CS lead is recoverable, depending on how the lane is going. Depending on if the opponents are pushing a large wave towards you, you can make up that difference off of the lane that they're pushing towards you. But it's already a little bit too late to recover some of that difference. Ooh, a nice binding, though, because a minion wave or two has already crashed into the turret and been lost. So that is a very real CS loss that he's sporting right now.
Absolutely. It's definitely going to sting for the time being. Kaiser trying to harass still, but I was wondering how long it was going to stay in the bottom lane. I was getting kind of curious. But of course, there's not a whole lot else going on right now.
Yeah, and it's a very aggressive bottom lane playstyle from Kaiser and Pew Pew, who have had, well, some pretty marked success with it already. They've managed to pull out a significant lead in terms of CS. Pew Pew has run himself almost entirely out of mana at this point, so there's a chance that Shadow Tortoise and Rashford, maybe with some help, can turn this lane back around. But I think that would almost require Epic Weirdo Kid to show up and give him some love.
He is still currently farming his jungle. He's actually doing a full clear. Icy Dragon doing Gnar things.
Shangti has done a good job of holding his own in the mid lane that I was so worried about there. He's actually pushed the lane up a few times, so it looks like he's using those bombs as often as possible to get damage on joined and shove the wave, which is what I said is really difficult to do as a Zilean laner. But I mean, if you can accomplish it, if you're skilled enough and able to weave the time bombs into the right locations, then it's very powerful.
Absolutely. Looks like he's doing just fine. We're actually seeing that Umbria is doing alright for himself as well. He's only 5 CS behind. So he is using a lot of mana to use his abilities.
It's true, Gnar does not exactly have that disadvantage, but I think he'll be alright. He still has that teleport to fall back onto if he really needs to be able to equalize this lane if something goes horribly wrong.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, we have a potential for a dive down here. Hecarim sitting in the tri-bush behind the turret. He's going to get pinged out, though. They're aware of the situation. It looks like he'll canter his way out of that potential engage.
He's going to decide that the Raptors need some attention. We're actually seeing Weirdo Kid in that bottom lane, but there is a ward, I think.
I think they could still go for this. There's the flash into the cocoon, but it doesn't land, and that is really unfortunate for Weirdo Kid. That's quite a bit of investment into a gank that never really got off the ground.
Very.
In the mid lane, though, joined went really low. Shangti has done a great job of holding down this lane.
Epic Weirdo Kid determined to get something out of this bottom lane.
Yeah, there's There's the engage from Pew Pew and Kaiser. This time they are caught a little bit too far forward, but the cocoon again doesn't land. Rappel down onto Kaiser. They may still yet be able to brute force their way into a kill here, and there it is. That's the first blood over to Shadow Tortoise. A blue pillar of light into the sky calls Icy Dragon in. His teleport will be answered by his counterpart, and he now has to leap back out of the fray as Pew Pew gets caught by the cocoon. The spell shield comes down, but it's not going to block anything in time. And there's the flash in from Rashard for the last feathery auto attack to get
One above coming out so far ahead.
Oh, and Jordan's gonna get out of there just in time. Unintended. And yeah, one above does definitely come out on top.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. One above actually not coming out ahead. He's the opposite of that.
Silver
I got
Snow.
it was Silver Snow coming out ahead. I got my teams mixed up on accident. Whoops.
That's all right. I think they can forgive us for this one mistake. But if we make another, we will be executed. That is the law of shoutcasters.
Absolutely. So, no more errors in that department.
We play
I'm
for
u-
real stakes here, boys.
I'm using my monthly quota on errors.
Yes, you get one mistake a month. You make more than that, you are executed. Any shoutcaster who lasts more than a year is highly revered for his accuracy. Or her. We're not sexist here, just murderous.
Murderous is the way to go. We're actually seeing lots of items coming out.
Can I quote you on that one?
Yes, you can.
Murderous is the way to go. All right, cool. Cool. Sounds good. We'll
Absolutely.
put that one in the books. That's really unfortunate for Icy Dragon. Teleporting in only to his death there. And he got the drop in the teleport as well. It's just Umbria was more well off for the fight when he arrived. I think he had just recently based, so he teleported in full health, all his cooldowns available.
Absolutely.
And was just able to have much more of an impact.
Icy Dragon was not quite at the rage he wanted to basically transform, because if you could have transformed, it could have made a huge difference, but never quite made it. We're seeing Epic Ritter Kid actually shown back in that bottom line.
Yeah, looking for another cocoon. Doesn't look like he'll find it. There's a toss against the wall from Icy Dragon, however. Umbria not quite getting stunned, but Krakadon is still looking for this gank. They want to get something back, but Umbria's going to hold him up under the turret for what feels like an Ice Age. Umbria gets the kill back in the 2v1.
That Nautilus CC, so much of it.
Literally the most CC in the game on any one champion. Nautilus has 4 different methods of crowd control.
He's got the root, the pull, the knockback, or not the knock up, the knock up, and a slow. Yeah, that'll do it.
And I think that's the most on any champ. Certainly the most different varieties, having a pull, a slow, and a root, and a knock up. Trying to think of any like recent releases, because the last time I fact checked that particular factoid was a few seasons ago, but I don't think any recent releases keep up to Nautilus. Epic Weirdo Kid is going to be landing a cocoon here on to Shangdi. He does have his ulti available. He'll be popping that. Surviving in the middle of the gangplank ulti may not be the best spot, but Krakadon is here, and he is ready to rumble. Joined is now burning to death. There is nothing he can do about it, and Shangdi gets the kill with the time bomb. However, there is some reinforcements on the way from bottom lane, but Shadow Tortoise is just walking straight into the face of a halberd-wielding horse. Not the ideal place to be. However, Monsoon will keep him safe as he gets back to his turret, and Curtain Call may catch him a kill or two. There's one more shot fired, but Shangdi gets out of its way in time.
Rashard saving the day with that Monsoon. Without it, he would have, Shadow Tortoise would definitely have perished to
Certainly
the bomb.
saving Shadow Tortoise's day, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So one above, picking up some kills that are even things out. Not letting their little error in that bottom lane dissuade them from trying to pick up gold and kills.
Yeah, One Above Esports is actually 1K above their opponents right now. Looks like they're wanting to be 1 dragon above their opponents as well, but that may end up poorly for them as Kaiser gets slowed by that dragon auto, and that puts him in range of a cocoon. The exhaust dropped on Epic Weirdo Kid will give him a way out of the fight, or maybe not, join with a barrel over the wall.
That barrel was so good.
Did that barrel just get knocked back?
Yes, yes it does.
He dropped the barrel and got knocked back by the dragon. I didn't know that interaction was possible. Krakadon's going to be bullied out of his own jungle by Umbria. Umbria's had real presence on the rest of the map this game. Icy Dragon, we've seen that one teleport earlier, which kind of flopped in his face. Now we'll see if he can take a turret, but it looks like it's not going to be in the cards for him. Umbria will be teleporting in to put a stop to that.
So yeah, Umbria is behind in CS, but he, with his presence across the map, that is easily forgiven.
You're going to get a few auto attacks there on Epic Weirdo Kid. I've always wondered what Zillion auto attacks are made of. Looks like little bits of clockwork, I think.
They're like cogs, I think. Little
Yeah, something
cogs.
like that. I like to say that he's throwing bits of time at his opponents, though. I'm not sure what that would constitute, but I guess the closest thing would be clockwork for a clock.
A clock would be the closest thing to bits of time. Yes.
I suppose. Tiny little pocket watches, maybe. I think that's Gentleman Nar, though, that tosses his pocket watch around.
He goes around the different stores that sell watches, and he just steals a bunch of cheap watches to throw at people.
Really nice aim on these bombs from Shangdi. He is merciless with his punishment of joined in this lane, and this is really not how I anticipated this lane playing out. Zillion is usually not as much of a presence against someone as powerful a laner as a Gangplank can be.
Absolutely. He's going for the Rod of Ages route, so he is going to be a little more durable as well.
Yeah, and it gives him some mana sustain whenever he takes poke from joint, which is rather nice. And even just regular sustain in general, allowing him to heal up on the casts of those time bombs. Very powerful mid laner we've seen.
Looks like
play we've seen so far from Shangdi.
Both junglers are in top.
Yeah, we may get something here. Oh, the cocoon from the Guido Kid not quite hitting Krakodon. Even if it had landed, though, there is no interrupting that ulti. And Icy Dragon's going to toss Weirdo Kid against the wall. Wallop there onto the Nautilus. And that is a double kill with a boulder toss.
Umbria not quite able to lock down anyone this time because he did not have his ultimate. Icy Dragon and Krakodon getting the revenge in that top lane.
Return to the bottom lane now, where Pew Pew and Kaiser continue to pull ahead. However, they may yet be stopped on the hunt, speeds them back, and that's Gangplank ulti traded for Sivir. So that looks like that'll be the end of it. They really don't want them to grab this turret. Turret first blood, first fortification, if you want to call it that, has yet to go one way or the other. And the bottom lane outer turret for the side of Silver Snow is dangerously low. Joint is going to get just absolutely goon squatted in the mid lane.
He is forced to flash away.
Escape. Shadow Tortoise is going to get bound up there, and yeah, it looks like Joint managed to make his way out of that situation.
Definitely not a situation you want to be in. He is going back to lane though, temporarily at least.
And the push continues bottom side. Just one or two more boomerangs from that Sivir are going to do the trick. They just need to get Pew Pew in range to be able to hit it a few times. That first turret blood is actually really, really valuable these days. Oh, but it looks like it actually went down in topside already. Oh yeah, after bringing down Umbria, they managed to grab the first turret already.
Oh, that is right. Oh, Kaiser unfortunately is most likely going to end up.
Those were some beautiful sidesteps, but he still pays for his life.
Absolutely. Fortunately, he was forced to sidestep in the opposite direction of where he wanted to go.
Yes, a nice little nice usage of the skill shots there. Used either they land or they zone the Karma back in such a way that she no longer has an escape. So it's as good as the cocoon having landed there.
Absolutely.
Which is good for Epic Weirdo Kid, because we've seen a few botched cocoons this game, so it's good to see that one on point.
He's definitely good for him. He's opting for a little less tanky route. He's going for the AP Runic Echoes instead of the more durable route.
Very often on an Elise, you'll see the Runic Echoes rush. It just makes the most sense, gives you a lot of clear speed, some really good early damage. That is where Elise shines, and sort of the early mid game around the 15-minute mark or so, which is where we're at right now. Frozen Mallet completed for Icy Dragon means that he's very difficult to shake off. Umbria is feeling that pain as Krakodon comes rushing over the wall with a host of spectral horses as well, and he's going to put the end to Nautilus once again. There's a teleport pole to the bottom side, and that will be answered at the Gangplank ulti. They may actually just keep chasing here onto Icy Dragon. There's Curtain Call dropped. The first bullet does not land. The second one finds no marks either. The third will connect, but by that point it's way too late. Joined now getting dove in the mid lane as Shangdi easily drops another 3 bombs on his head and shows him the meaning of true pain. Didn't even have to burn his ulti and that died.
Honestly, despite their initial mess up, it looks like one above is taking control of this game, and it is not as even as the score suggests.
Yeah, and a lot of it is due to these well-played lanes. Just like the CS differential in the mid lane and the bottom lane, even in the top lane, every single lane outside of the jungle, which I guess you could qualify that as one if you just want to talk about theoretically, is ahead by 20 CS or more, 40 CS. That's 50 CS actually for Shangdi on second doing of the math.
That is definitely
that's pretty egregious.
absolutely. We're also saying that It is 3 turrets to none. So that's huge for one above.
Yeah, kills may look even, but just about everything else to do with this game is not. As one above has one-upped their opponents across every single lane here.
I'm saying that Icy Dragon has redeemed himself mostly for his initial death, with being 4-1 himself.
Oh yeah. We have Krakadon going for the one-on-one here with Shadow Tortoise. Doesn't quite catch up to him. The Emu's getting Shadow Tortoise to safety. That will give Krakadon a minion wave to farm and a bit more gold to scale up with. We haven't even really seen like the full potential of this comp, the purpose for which it was created, used yet. Like, it's very much a Hecarim composition where they speed the pony towards their foes and then watch him run them over. But they haven't even done that once yet, and yet they're still so far ahead. But this might be the first fight where they're like actually rushing into the fight. Sending Krakadon to the back line as he finds his way around. There is Razard tossed against a wall. He just about escapes actually the monsoon to keep himself alive. But there's a flash over the wall and the auto just for good measure, and the bomb will not actually claim a victim. The Jana Shield came up in time, and now Shangdi's a little bit cut off and alone from the rest of his team. He's got 2 lives though with Zillion, and that may buy enough time. Krakadon rushing in. There's a beautiful Gnar ult from Icy Dragon. He's going to chase in on the Shadow Tortoise, but he has a heal, but it will not be enough. And now some more bombs. Shangdi has his 2nd life, and he is looking for some vengeance for the 1st. That's a triple kill going over to Icy Dragon's Gnar.
Icy Dragon is a terrifying Gnar now, being 8-1. And this game is scaling out of control for Silver Snow.
Oh man, yes indeed it is. Looks like they're gonna set their sights onto a Rift Herald. Give that over to Icy Dragon and makes him basically uncontestable.
I thought it was Baron at this point, but it's only 18 minutes in this game.
Oh yeah, no, we're actually really early in the game still, which is impressive to say the least from one above, able to pull out such a dramatic lead so very quickly. Herald will go down, it won't get stolen. That is the secure from Kaiser. And now the flash in will be instantly regretted by Epic Weirdo Kid, who goes down very swiftly. Umbria caught out and alone. Icy Dragon is a legendary and well-deserved. The guy is 9-1. Curtain call comes from Shadow Tortoise. Krakadon is really fast, though, even with that 90% slow off of the bullets landing.
You can't stop fast.
I believe it got nerfed. I think it's 80% now, but it's still it's an extensive slow.
Absolutely. Definitely still very, very powerful. I'm saying that, of course. Krakadon does have the boots for swiftness to reduce the effectiveness of slows.
Mm-hmm. And may very well have some slow reduction in his masteries as well. That's something that some Hecarim players will go for. With the name of the point in the tree, that there is one which reduces the effectiveness of slows on the defensive tree. So if he's gone that route, could be that it is 90%, but it's being reduced down to 80% because of that, something along those lines. One way or another, he makes it out of the curtain call fairly easily, and things are looking rather grim for Silver Snow.
Absolutely. Pretty much every lane lost. It's just...
This is a damage Gnar build right here, and Icy Dragon doesn't have anyone who can contest him, but maybe 3 people can contest him. He's going to get the Mega Gnar transformation, but it's not in time. The crit from Joined gets the kill.
1 for 1 in a 1v3. Icy Dragon pulling ahead.
Oh, he did. He got Weirdo Kid. Darn, I didn't even notice that.
Weirdo Kid, not quite durable enough to withstand the onslaught of boomerangs.
There's quite an onslaught of boomerangs, actually, from one above. They've got both Sivir and Gnar, but there's the Hecarim ulti to the backside. A onslaught of shadowy horses puts an end to Shadowy Tortoise's life. Krakadon weaves his way back out of the fight, happy to take that kill onto the carry, and go back to shoving some turrets.
Krakadon, that engage, very powerful. Just dived right on in.
I mean, yeah, this is the strength of the composition. This is the game plan that they're now executing on. You know, everything earlier was just kind of gravy, winning those lanes. That may not have been the game plan. They were just playing some darn good laning phases. But now their composition is going to come to fruition, and it's not going to make things any easier for Silver Snow, who have fallen behind pretty significantly already.
So they're saying 11k difference at 20 minutes.
Interesting. I would have thought they'd give the Rift Herald over to Icy Dragon, but Shangdi's the one who picked it up.
I
mean, he's adding a little bit more damage to his kit here, and Rajard is certainly feeling it.
Actually, I think he picked it up just in the heat of the moment because there was a team fight going on.
Yeah, that's a real possibility. Sometimes you can't always determine who gets it. You just want to get it before the enemy team chase you off the pit.
We're seeing it looks like one above wanting to push that top line turret. It is the last outer turret to be had.
And even Icy Dragon is a massive damage threat right now. Basically, everybody but Kaiser can solo out almost anyone else in the enemy team. So it's going to have to be a lopsided fight that Silver Snow win. They're never going to win in even 1v1, 2v2, anything like that.
So they need to find someone and catch them out. But it's not an easy prospect given the nature of one above's composition.
Yeah, I mean, just so long as they stay together, that's really never going to be a possibility. If no one is alone, then no one can be caught alone, and they don't really need to split up anymore, not with so many lanes so broken and battered. And Baron is actually a real possibility now.
They're going to very easily build it. It looks like there's going to be no contest. Icy Dragon in the mid lane, distracting.
Yeah, they've spent some time now talking to this Gnar, chatting him up, but Icy Dragon no longer wants any part of that. He's roaming over to the mid lane fight. Krakodon is diving to the back of his team, even though he's already lost most of his health, and he's going to speed right back out of there, running faster than the Nautilus ulti can even track the man.
It's so funny.
Good lord. Krakodon dashes in, Join is going to get tossed backwards. He gets himself a killing spree at the very least, but there's a flash forward to bring the bomb to its target. Shangdi is not letting that one explode fruitlessly. In fact, he's going to get himself a shot.
They're not letting Krakodon's death go in vain.
Oh no, Shadow Tortoise chased it too far and too greedily, but Shangdi doesn't land the bomb, but he does land the slow. That one's just point and click. Shadow Tortoise will fall.
That was basically 4-1. That was a very crazy engagement by Krakodon during that fight. Despite how low he was, he had no fear.
He just zoomed right back out of there. You know, he jumped in there, he got the Terrify onto the 2 or 3 people, and then just immediately left as fast as Icy Dragon is now. Man, they can just they can choose one person and reposition them almost instantly anywhere in a fight, and that is the strength of this composition. It works particularly well in Hecarim. There's no reason why they couldn't do it to Icy Dragon or Shangdi or somebody.
Absolutely, and we're seeing a bunch of backs here. The Dragon is up. Lots of gold to be had for the side of one above.
Maybe Silver Snow has a catcher and a Krakodon, but it's not exactly easy to keep up with.
So even if they do catch him, there's no guarantee they're going to kill him, not with how durable he currently is.
Yeah, he's managed to build quite a bit of health for himself. Not much in the way of resists, but hasn't really needed the enemy team isn't doing quite that much damage anymore. You know, walk their way over a Wolf Spirit, which will actually no, that's a friendly one to them. Okay, so they're not spotted out, but they do simply have to back off this Mountain Drake.
And that is going to be another Dragon going over to one above.
Second of the game now. I believe the first one was a Mountain Drake as well. I may be incorrect on that.
I think it was an air Drake with the very first dragon, but that was taken by Silver Snow, and then
yes,
the Ocean Drake was the first dragon secured by one above. If I'm recalling correctly, I don't remember off the top of my head.
You got to feel bad for Epic Weirdo Kid. He had some good presence early on in the bottom lane, got some good ganks off, but since that point hasn't really been able to keep up with Krakodon. Scaled out of control, giving Icy Dragon quite a few kills. And even now secured the Baron alongside his team. And it's hurt even more for Weirdo Kid because he's gone with something of a damage build. As you said, I mean, he went with the Runic Echoes first, which is the classic Elise pickup, but then after that has built into a Hextech Protobelt as well.
Actually,
a mixture of damage and defense, but certainly heavier on the damage side.
Seeing Icy Dragon being a nuisance in that bottom line while the rest of his team splits that top side.
Well, there's really nobody who can contest Icy Dragon. There's nobody who can contest the rest of the team either.
Shadow Tourist did not stand a chance there.
Just decimated people. Epic Weirdo Kid has almost no effect on this fight as Pew Pew brings him to his knees, his many 8-legged knees. And that will likely be another inhibitor at the very least falling top lane, probably one bottom side as well. Shangdi's going to teleport in to keep that super minion alive. They may just go for the victory here. Shangdi teleports in. He gets knocked off immediately by Rajard. They're going to keep Shangdi and Icy Dragon at bay, but they're losing the rest of their base as they do so. Not even going to be doing too great of a job keeping them at bay either. But now it's the full force of one above, focused devastatingly on these turrets. They are exploding very quickly.
And with that, that is most likely going to be game at the 26-minute mark. And there it is. Very nicely done by one above.
They take the first game in a best of one, so that will be the only match. As we, that was a quarterfinal match, I believe, or was that our semifinals?
That was semifinals tonight.
So they will be progressing on to the finals, and we will be figuring out who's going there alongside them very shortly.
Absolutely. I am taking the opportunity to check the bracket. It is going to be Ignitus Esports. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Ignitus Esports has finished out the victory in the other semifinals?
Yes, that is going to be Ignitus Esports versus one above.
We already have our finalists then. That's remarkably quick. Both of these teams must have taken their opponents apart very swiftly. I mean, we saw evidently here that one above did so in only 26.5 minutes, but Ignitus must have had a similar showing, and so we may be in for something of an explosive set of finals tonight. I personally haven't seen these teams perform yet, but I hear from my go-caster here that they are returning names.
Don't recall Ignitus, but I do absolutely remember one above. And I have the tournament code. Just give me a second to open Skype. Up there it is. There we go. Okay. While we wait for everybody to get into lobby, we're going to take this opportunity to take a small, minor break. We'll be back very shortly. Can you have them re-step out? Somehow my client closed. Oh my. Sorry guys, we're having some technical difficulties. Great. We may... I don't know if we can even talk to them while they're...
I am attempting to get in contact with them right now. Hopefully we'll be able to get this sorted. Give me just a few moments.
Okay, I can... As soon as they're able...
Ah, there we go.
There we go, okay. Well, that's fine. Apparently one of their players didn't connect. So, as soon as they're back...
Cause I'm the king on my own throne, throne, oh, oh, oh. King on my own throne, my own throne. You'll never see me fall, fall. You'll never see me fall. Watch me reign, and I'll slay them all. Slay them all, slay them all. You'll never, you'll never, you'll never steal the reign, and I'll slay them all. Slay them all, slay them all, slay them all. You'll never.
Here we are. We are finally here. Round 2. Something happened the last time we tried to do this, but we're into the finals. Team Ignitus Esports versus One Above.
Yeah, and it will be one above on the red side to start it off, and Ignitus Esports on the blue. And we're going to get right into some of the bans. A Zillion ban against Shangdi. That's respect from the last game, to say the least.
Absolutely.
And the Gangplank out of the picture is more meta-focused.
And more slightly unusual bands coming out of One Above, Soraka and LeBlanc. Both of those champions are not exactly weak, but usually they are not bands we see.
Yeah, and they may be target bans again, or just like last time, they may just be throwaways. This team may not consider banning to be all that important. Perhaps they consider themselves above this tournament. You never know.
Absolutely.
Across teams like that every now and then. The Hecarim taken away from Krakadon, who played that last time around, and just taken away in general, as it is a very powerful pick right now.
Krakadon probably going to secure the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, Rek'Sai in response would make a good amount of sense. Hecarim and Rek'Sai are kind of the duality of the jungle right now. They are the two different ways of playing. The Hecarim, the very much aggressive, high damage jungle, sort of carry jungle, and the Rek'Sai, who's more utility focused, more centered on the team, and just better at vision control in the jungle. A good all rounder.
Yeah, we're seeing one above securing Sivir once again, but Karma is open. So if Ignitus Esports wanted to take it away, they could.
Wouldn't be surprised if they did. It's got some really good flex properties. Karma can be thrown to the mid or the support role, so it's pretty useful to grab early on in a draft. Certainly doesn't hurt you. And taking it away from a team that's already locked into Sivir makes a lot of sense, but Kennen, now that would be an interesting pick.
We
Yeah,
have seen Kennen fairly recently. Not a whole bunch, but we do see him occasionally.
Yeah, and Syndra as well has seen a little bit of a rise to prominence with the fluctuations that mid lane has been experiencing recently. A lot of mid-range mages, of course, in the mid lane, have been getting test-driven, so to speak. As that will be the two hovers locked in immediately. Shangdi will respond with a Lissandra.
So another high utility mid laner.
This one a little bit more laning presence, I'd say, than Azillion, but of course, last time Shangdi was able to have all the laning presence in the world, even on Azillion. So
Shangdi's
a
like,
champion with more than one damaging ability is going to be kind of scary in his hands, I'd imagine.
actually, Shangdi heard us talking trash. Like, I'll show them, and show us he did.
Talking trash. He was analyzing.
I know. I
He was
don't blame you.
analyzing trash.
You can see how somebody might consider it trash talk to rid of them. People aren't always logical.
Oh, man, no, I'm sure Shangdi's doing just fine.
Absolutely.
Coming off that Zillion game, put in a great performance there. I'm happy. I'm excited to see him on a champ that's a little bit more accessible.
Definitely interested to see how he plays Lissandra. We see Lissandra occasionally, but not a whole bunch.
Again, mid lane has been kind of fluctuating recently, and Lissandra has been one of the ones that people have thrown around as a possible pick in the current meta. First stringers aren't really defined right now, ever since Azir's fall from the top.
Absolutely.
We've seen things like Talia come to the fore, Syndra, who else? Cassiopeia has seen a lot of play recently, which I particularly enjoy. I like Cassiopeia quite a bit. Lissandra, and of course, is seeing some play nowadays. There's a lot of different options. Seen Oriana's come back, and that's a throwback.
Absolutely. I think it's a sign that we're in a pretty good spot for mid lane meta. Is for when picks are so flexible, rather than being
Yeah,
one or two champions. And we didn't actually mention it, but it looks like one above has not locked on the Karma. They're not taking it. They're taking Janna instead.
Yeah, that does leave it open, and we saw Icy Dragon and Kaiser more than happy to play that duo. Sona, though, locked in. Now, there's one you don't see too often. She had a bit of a moment in the limelight right after a buff. But ever since then, they reverted the buff. She isn't nearly as powerful as she was for, like, basically the duration of a single patch. And people kind of stopped playing her because her weaknesses are still pretty glaring. She's basically a glorified cannon minion at the start. But I don't think it'll be the Karma. It's going to be the John has already been locked in for Kaiser, so a Scion top lane against Cannon. I don't really know how that matchup works out. Renekton far even less. Huh. That's a real throwback. I don't think I've seen a Renekton versus Cannon lane since the days of
What season is this?
2 or 3, something along those lines.
That makes sense. It's definitely been a while. I don't think we've seen a Renekton in a while.
Oh yeah, no. Like top lane hasn't been about like lane domination in so very long, so very many long seasons. Renekton. Now there's a name I haven't heard in a while, but it just Renekton thrives in a meta about dominating the lane, and it hasn't really been about that for a very long time.
Absolutely. He's one of those characters that he can get a kill, but in the current meta, it's just maybe he can get 1 or 2 kills. It's not like before where if he gets a lead, he could get 5 or 6 kills.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone feels so durable. He's like, I'm hitting you, but you're just not going down.
Well, we are into our spectator delay now. 3 minutes or so on the clock before we can make it into the match. So with that, I think we will throw it over to some quiet music, some light listening.
Absolutely. We will be back once the game has started. And see you guys, folks. And here we are. The final finals. I was about to say final match, but obviously that would not be correct.
Not quite. Not quite. The one after this one could very well be the final match, depending on how this one goes. Well,
Absolutely.
actually, no matter how this one goes, since it is a best of 3 tonight between these two teams. which
Depending
is
on how this
one
match goes, we could maybe make a reasonable assumption of how it could go.
That's true. That's true. But it never is good to be biased, especially as a caster, and I've seen turnarounds that I never would have expected, so I try not to expect anything anymore. It gets in the way of a clear casting conscience. Trademark.
Absolutely. Seeing a non-standard line of scrimmage coming out, we're seeing that Tatsuya Shiba is standing in the river with Icy Dragon. They're just kind of chilling, hanging out.
Having a good time. Maxing, relaxing, playing some b-ball outside the Baron pit. If one of them were playing Darius with the Slam Dunk Darius skin, then that would have been even better, but it's a good reference nonetheless.
Absolutely. Yep, we're seeing Ice Dragon putting a ward down, so they're gonna know that Dwayne Wade is in that bottom side of the jungle.
Yeah, a little of a premium on vision, even just in the first minute or two, being brought to the fore here from Team One Above, who get themselves 2 deeper wards to sort of track the starting location of their opposing jungler. Even though neither of those wards directly spot Dwayne Wade, they will sort of indirectly provide information on where he's not, which can be quite valuable as well.
Not knowing where someone is at is still very, very valuable, without a doubt.
Let's Kiss the Chaos and Shangdi go for the 1v1 here. That is a Thunderlord's proc on both sides, and that'll be the end of the trade. Shangdi continues to show some dominance in the mid lane, or attempts to. Kiss the Chaos is not playing softball himself. Yeah, you get it. Balls, softball. Hey, Johnny, that was a good one.
Shandy forgot to bring his bat.
Hey, there we go. Now we're playing on the right ball field. All right,
Yeah.
we'll stop. I promise, guys, we'll stop eventually. Let's keep this ball rolling, though. As up on the top side, Icy Dragon and Tetsuya Shiba go for the 1v1. This is pretty predictable that Tetsuya Shiba gets a bit of a health advantage earlier on. Ooh, that Thunder and Shuriken connecting. Would have been a pretty big deal, actually. Doesn't land, though. Which is why I find it a little bit curious that Icy Dragon went with a Renekton pick here. Because Kennen is pretty much one of the only laners that can outlane a Renekton. But it's all about how hard in the paint Icy Dragon chooses to go in a lot of these fights.
Oh. Seeing that Kiss the Chaos is definitely getting that poke in. Ooh.
Stun on Icy Dragon. Krakenon's coming to the top lane, though. They really want to bring this hamster down, and they'll get the first blood. As Krakenon chases him under the turret with a flash.
Lightning hamster down.
Yeah, Tetsuya just didn't realize how much danger he was in until it was a little bit too late. An earlier flash might have saved him from being stunned, but he got stunned as he flashed away, which is unfortunate. Ooh, and that Q doesn't quite land on the Xiangdi.
Overall, that mid lane is pretty even.
Yeah, much more even than it was the last time around, for sure.
Absolutely.
Xiangdi has pulled a few CS out of nowhere.
If I had to give it to anyone else, I'd probably still Kiss the Chaos as the advantage because he has barrier and not teleport. Though that does give Shandy the map mobility, of course.
Yeah, if it broke out into a fight right now, I would say Kiss the Chaos may come out on top. That also is about mana, and Shangdi, if he times it exactly right, can make use of that Lysandra passive to sneak an extra spell into a skirmish, which is going to have only like 2 or 3 spells at this point, given that both mid laners have run their mana pools almost dry. But there's that teleport you're talking about right now, and Shangdi has a small window where he's got a huge advantage because he's just teleported into the lane. He's fresh-faced and ready for combat, and Kiss the Chaos is still rather wounded here. Shangdi's gonna go for it. He doesn't get the follow-up on the Glacial Path because he got knocked back at the right moment.
Nice little bit of CC from Kiss the Chaos.
Yeah, very well timed.
Otherwise, he could have been a little troll there, possibly.
Oh no, Icy Dragon stuttered an auto on a cannon minion. It's the small embarrassments that can sometimes prove to be the most embarrassing. But he did zone Tetsuya back from a cannon minion as well, so that equalizes it, I guess.
Oh, little yank in that top lane.
Yeah, there's the knockback on Icy Dragon. You see where Icy Dragon chooses to pass. He's just trying to buy as much time as he can, but not going to be all that much. Tetsuya gets a kill back for his death earlier.
Absolutely. Nice little roam from Dwayne Wade. Taking advantage of the
man.
lack of a flash.
Kaiser flashes in for the knockup onto both Mia and Barai. Shang Diaz roamed to the bottom lane as well. Doesn't quite have the level 6 though, so there's not as much ganking power as there normally would be. There's the flash away from Barai and the flash away from Mia, so they at least get those summoners, but they're not going to be able to get themselves a kill. A little bit of a later roam from Shang Di may have been a kill, but he hadn't hit level 6 yet before showing his face bottom.
And we're seeing both that mid laner and the jungle return to try and give Kiss the Chaos a little love.
Yeah, he's going to be in some trouble actually if he sticks around here in the lane. There's the Glacial Path in. Krakadon is here. Oh, that was a double stun. Beautiful. Kiss the Chaos has had a really good Scatter the Weak usage in this game. I don't know, is it Scatter the Weeks? That doesn't really sound good when you pluralize it. They've been on point one way or the other.
Scatter the Weeks. Yeah, this doesn't sound right. So I'm just gonna go with Scatter the Week.
Sounds like a really artsy band name. Weeks is in like the time of.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Ooh.
There's another Scatter the Week. That one prompting a flash from Shangdi. Thought the stone's gonna connect. There's the flash in from Kiss the Chaos, but he doesn't have anything else to follow it up with. I don't think he had enough mana for his ulti there.
He didn't. He ran out of mana.
Oh no. He was gonna cue ult and insta burst Shangdi, but he didn't have enough mana, so he just ends up walking away.
That's gotta feel bad.
Oh no. Oh no. That is one of the most depressing mistakes that you can possibly make. Just a purely mathematical error. Not doing the math to add up how much Q plus R would cost. Return once more to Quiet.
Seeing Icy Dragon and Tatsuya Shiba still deking it out. We're seeing Tatsuya with the huge advantage that went in CS with that Wave Kitness turret, which is
Despite the early death.
not too unexpected given the matchup.
Yeah, Tatsuya is on cannon. He's one of the best laning top laners in the game. He's also got a pretty good teamfight impact as well with the Slicing Maelstrom, so I'm unsure why Kennen hasn't been in more metas. May just be that a lot of the times the top lane meta is about tankiness and about being a good bruiser and that sort of thing, and Kennen definitely doesn't fit that role. So
Absolutely. Some characters can just basically itemize against Kennen and build that durability, and then they're like, oh, you're poking me. I don't care. That would be.
But in a meta that allows for an AP top laner, and a meta that's about team fighting, which is certainly a meta that we may be finding ourselves in soon, Kennen can certainly surface.
Absolutely.
Tatsuya Shiba has been doing a great job of holding Icy Dragon down in this lane. Gave up that death earlier on, but that was in a very aggressive gank, so.
Absolutely. And it was a gank that did eat 2 flashes. And he is extending his lead even further, working towards that Zhonya's.
There's the combo from Icy Dragon. He's gonna get off pretty much top 3. Actually, no, there's a Thundering Shuriken, nicely placed. But Tatsuya finds himself in a 2v1 now, flashing away the stun on the Krakadon from the Slicing Maelstrom, and it looks like he'll get out with his life, but -1 summoner and his ult.
Absolutely. That does. Without that flash, it is going to be a little dangerous for him. So he is opting to back. Or not. He changed his mind.
Yeah, Krakadon could very well just visit the top lane again, though. He's still hanging out up there. He's getting the Scuttle Crab for now. We'll see where his attention goes next. It looks like maybe mid, or maybe just going for some deep vision. Right now he's scouting around near the enemy's blue buff.
He is
We'll
going
give
to...
him the information that Dwayne Wade is not on that side of the map right now, though.
Oh, he is pinging in that area. He is definitely coming to top lane for that gank.
And this is a very, very aggressive gank path. Not many champs other than Rek'Sai can pull this one off. Tunneling over that wall, coming in so aggressively behind Tatsuya Shiba. And there's just absolutely nothing to do about this, especially with the Flash and Slicing Maelstrom both already down. Really good capitalization on the investment from earlier, getting the summoner and the ult off cannon and making use of that.
Absolutely. Definitely. It's when I was playing a League a lot, it's one of my least favorite things when junglers didn't take advantage of flashes being down.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's simple but effective League of Legends tactics, just to keep hammering home where you've already found a weakness. And they found that weakness in the form of Tatsuya Shiba, who was going a little bit too aggressively into the lane, paid for it, first his summoner and ult, and now his life once again. He's kind of at the teetering point in this lane now. He's still probably going to be dominant in the 1v1, but if he messes up again, gives up another kill, gets ganked, gets sloppy, then I don't know if he's going to be able to keep holding his edge against Renekton. May already be too late.
Ooh, I see Dragon switching his items around a little bit. He did pick up a Hexdrinker, but he's opting for the Phage instead.
Yeah, maybe Black Cleaver. I'd imagine that's what the Phage item he'd be aiming for. I don't know if Trinity Force works too well on a Renekton.
Given the length of his cooldowns, not so much. Black Cleaver does make the most sense, in my opinion.
It's an aggressive build path, to say the least. But with the amount, with the amount that they've been able to punish Tetsuya for his forward lane play, I can see it being a viable one. It's going to be Icy Dragon's teleport now as he returns to the lane with that. And the farm alarm from Krakadon coming back into the jungle.
She is a very loud lady when she comes across the map like that.
Yes, I love the name farm alarm. It's so appropriate. That one's back from the days when people didn't really consider Rek'Sai to be too great, though. Too much of a champion. People thought of her being a little bit underwhelming. A few buffs and patches later, and now Rek'Sai is sitting queen-like at the top of the meta. I don't know if the farm alarm moniker still works, but it's alliterative, and that's all that matters to me.
It's not quite as efficient for the farming now, so much with the nerf, but...
Oh, man. A nice scatter of the week from Kiss the Chaos may actually save his life. Now flash onto the turret from Krakadon may actually take his. A few balls are tossed his way, but it looks like he'll be alright. There's a flash in from Shangdi. Wow, that was aggressive.
They really wanted to Kiss the Chaos.
They really very much did, but they weren't able to get what they want. They did burn both summoners, though, so we may see more repeated gankage from Krakadon, this time towards the mid lane. He continues his pattern of jungling. A lot of this game has just been the Krakadon show. He's been very aggressive, even after that sort of botched gank attempt in the mid lane. He's going for some deep vision. He's getting some tunnels in the enemy jungle once again, looking for more opportunities. And that's kind of been the story of the game for Krakadon. He's always been looking for more opportunities.
And when he managed to get a flat... Ooh, hello!
Yeah, Khalifa finds an opportunity here. Off of the ult. God damn it. Oh, man. Sona will now be called Mia. Oh, boy.
Ask her anything.
Caster habit to read names. Tetsuya Shiba in the top lane in the 1v1 continues to harass Icy Dragon back, though. Still has that 10 CS lead, but it's come at the cost now of 2 deaths to Krakadon. The way he's been playing this lane has left him vulnerable over and over.
He has that CS lead because of it, but it's not too big. It's not too egregious for Icy Dragon.
Yeah, and Icy Dragon is happy to sit on his Phage and his base damage, since all of Renekton really needs to be competitive. Ironically enough, even though he is such a powerful laner, he can also be alright just from an even lane. Really potent that way, for sure. There's the flash away from Beret after the net as well, so very swiftly escaping that situation. Didn't want to stick around and figure out how it ended.
No.
If the Chaos is roamed down, there's a stun on the Shangdi. Some good burst before the ulti can come through to block it, but the Chaos is now taking some damage himself. Krakadon turns back around to play the bodyguard. Krakadon doing quite well for himself in terms of items and levels at this point. Level up on his opponents and some fairly powerful pieces of items.
Icy Dragon getting poked hard there.
A good knockback, but not quite a stun from Kiss the Chaos there. And that's going to leave Krakadon open as Dwayne Wade shows his face in the mid lane to go for this Air Drake. Cloud Drake, I should say. They have official names now.
Air Drake, Cloud Drake, same difference.
It's a Cloud Drake team with a Janna on it already, so there's going to be a lot of movement speed and a Sivir ulti too. So there's a lot of potential engage just off of movement speed now. There was before too, but even more now.
Shang-Chi getting scattered the week again. Chaos the Chaos is really on point with those.
Yeah, sadly he hasn't been able to convert any of them into kills yet. He's actually been slowly losing out in the lane. Like, he's had really good aim with his scatter of the week, but his laning play hasn't been quite on the same level as Shang-Di, and so he's actually lost about 20 CS now.
He's
That's
opting.
real loss.
He's opting for a more defensive route, going for that Abyssal Scepter, so he's not quite as bursty as if he'd gone for, obviously, for more AP.
I mean, on the other side, though, Shang-Di's going a decently defensive route as well. It looks like he's going for a Proto Belt and then maybe his own Abyssal Scepters on top of that with a Negatron Cloak. He split his build a little bit.
I believe that is probably. I agree with that. I think that's what he is going for.
Yeah, Proto Belt is really powerful in these short range to mid range mages like Lysandra, especially the ones who can benefit from the cooldown reduction quite a bit.
Speaking of Proto Belt, we do see that Tatsuya Shiba has picked up that Proto Belt in the top lane.
Yeah, Kennen is like the king of Proto Belt users. It's such a good item for him.
Absolutely. And for his lineup, what we do see that Icy Dragon picking up the Hex Shrinker that we saw earlier.
Kiss the Chaos is going to take a blue buff, quite literally. Bring it over to the mid lane. It actually does more damage than regular minions if you throw it at someone. Jungle camp minions, like large minions, like blue buff, even the large wolf or raptor or something does more damage.
I would have laughed if after he had thrown it that if Shandy had stolen it.
Oh man, that would have been quite bad. Blue buff delivery.
Here.
It did have like 40 hit points after being.
It was so close.
I just don't know if Shang-Di was like expecting that and was ready for the heads-up play of stealing it with a Q or something.
That'd have been pretty impressive if he was.
Pretty impressive is a word that you can use to describe that. Indeed. I think that would have been more a mistake for Chaos than an impressive play for Shang-Di, but one way or the other, it certainly would have been impactful.
Impressive reaction time if he'd been ready for it, but yes, it definitely been very embarrassing for Kiss the Chaos.
But this has been the problem for Chaos this whole game. Like, Shang-Di has just kept him shoved in. His farming into the turret has been about as good as you can expect from a Syndra, but it's like difficult to farm under the turret of Syndra. Kiss the Chaos now getting caught out here by Shang-Di. Crackdown is waiting in the wings for the flash on Burrow. He gets the knock-up, and that is Shang-Di with the kill. Now, Pew Pew is going to be chased backwards on the hunt. Gives him quite a bit of movement speed, but it's not enough to save Kaiser. And maybe not enough to save himself. Alright, with the ace in the hole, doesn't get the kill he was looking for, but Icy Dragon teleporting in, maybe the one they bring down. He flashes out after teleporting onto a Yordle Snap Trap.
Nice reaction time
That'll be
by
bad.
Burai, I should say.
Well, maybe it won't be. Dragonon has come from mid lane and has brought a mid laner with him. Uri and Mia both get caught out here now by the Unburrow, and that's a double kill going over to the Croc.
That's one above. This game had still made it up for a while, but one above come out ahead in terms of kills. Though the gold is still dead even.
It is. It's interesting to see exactly where those differences stand. Like, a lot of it has to... The reason why they're dead even...
We did see the first blood of the turret go over to Ignitus Esports.
Dwayne Wade is going to be brought down, however, even in the safety of his outer turret on the bottom lane. Krakadon is merciless in his continued pressure here. The interesting thing as well for Krakadon is that despite the fact that he's been involved in every single kill, he's only actually taken one of them, so very team-oriented jungle style here. Shang-Di going to be going for the 1v1 with Tatsuya, who actually kind of opted into the fight himself and may regret it at this point.
Shandy had a nice reaction to the slicing maelstrom. Completely denied most of the damage through the use of the ice tomb.
Shang-Di is no easy prey right now. And yeah, a lot of the CS differentials, there's an egregious one in the mid lane, but then that's kind of evened up by the top and bot, which are not nearly as bad as how far ahead Shang-Di is of Kiss the Chaos, but it is still a pretty decent lead for both Burai and Tatsuya, so that's why we're seeing almost even gold amounts now. That plus the turret first blood is 7.
Absolutely. So that probably does explain it, most of the gold difference, but kills make the score worse than it is.
Yeah. The second turret to fall will be this outer in the mid lane. There's a few more Caitlyn auto attacks come its way. And Shang-Di's going to get caught out by a stun there. Protobelt's back, though. Keeps himself alive. Arguable if that was necessary, but it's a rather short cooldown, so it's not exactly
Better to use
a
it
bad thing to burn.
and not die than to use it, or, well...
Not use it and die.
Yes. I think I screwed that up somehow, but oh well.
The point comes across one way or the other.
Yes.
Rift Herald commits suicide, as it does every time we reach the 19 minutes 47 mark, I think is like the exact time when it despawns.
Poor Rift Herald, it just wants some
57,
love
right.
too. Oh,
It goes so long being ignored, it eventually has to leave. 20 minutes without any attention. It's a long time.
Absolutely.
God, that joke was dark. Let's get off that dark and stormy joke and maybe on to what's happening in the bottom lane here between Cracodon, Icy Dragon, and a turret.
And it's the
Turret
first
may not be
turret
to the
of the
push.
game for one above.
Oh, that's just Chaos getting caught out there by the Lissandra ulti, but he's more than happy to keep going with this fight, it seems. Guys are now going to come in for a Monsoon to scatter, well, maybe not the weak, but the enemy team. Because the Chaos scatters a few weak. Right there.
Little bit of a whiff by Mia Khalifa on that Sona.
Tsushima gets caught out by Icy Dragon here, who has Cracodon waiting around.
We didn't even get a chance to
Perfect moment
Zanya's.
find. Oh yeah, he even has that up. Didn't have a chance to Protobelt or Zonya's. Either to dash away or turn into a very pretty statue.
It's gotta feel good for Icy Dragon, who spent most of the game getting bullied around a little bit.
Yeah. I just worry that, like, even though he's pulled back and he's got these 4 kills now, he's still probably going to fall off as the game moves on, where he's either got to build damage or Nectin. That was close. Tilt over nearly stole it there. He's got to either build damage or Nectin to be able to continue to be a damaging threat and then be able to be absolutely imploded by Kiss the Chaos. Or build tank Renekton and not deal enough damage to be a threat. It's kind of the ever-present problem of Renekton. It's the reason why you don't see him often.
Absolutely. It's definitely needs to try his best to find a happy middle, but it's not an easy task.
The happy middle is being a few levels up on your opposition, being an item up on your opposition, but like once the game gets late enough that everyone's the same level and everyone has 6 items, if we ever get to that point, it's no longer a middle you can achieve. And that is the Hecarim's, not the Hecarim, pardon me, the Renekton's worst nightmare.
Yeah, so
Hecarim does fine.
Hecarim is Hecarim. And speaking of Hecarim, working towards that Trinity Force now that he has finished the Cinder Hulk.
Yeah, a little bit of split itemization though. It looks like he may be going for Merc Treads. Either that or he's building a Hextricker real quick. Yeah, it's the Merc Treads. That makes more sense.
Totally reasonable choice given the large amount of crowd control.
It's interesting. A lot of Hecarims nowadays will actually forego going the jungle item first and instead go with the Trinity Force right away so that they can hit a Trinity Force power spike somewhere around now on the clock. You know, around the 15 to 25 minute mark, depending on how well they do.
Absolutely. Ooh, little flash from Mia there.
As the Chaos lands a knockback on the Shangdi, but he follows his glacial path into the fight nonetheless, and there's his ulti to cause a bit of chaos, but there's just nobody to follow up, so he has to flash back out. Dwayne Wade follows him, though, and he's not letting him get away that easily, and it's a double kill for Barai.
Shandy did manage to pick up Kiss the Chaos somehow through the barrier.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 trade, though, in the end, and both kills going to Barai, who was already rather significantly far ahead of Pew Pew. He's going to continue to exacerbate that.
He does have the Ronin's Hurricane, he does have the Infinity Edge, so he is going to definitely sting a little bit to anyone he does hit. Speaking of sting,
Crackdown needs a poison cupcake there, but interrupts the 90 caliber net. Barai may just go for this fight, though, in the end, as his crits are hurted quite a bit, and Crackdown has gone for a higher damage sort of bruiser build. He's not really able to stand up to them right now. There's the flash away from Barai. Icy Dragon is going to keep the chase going, though, and he finds the kill with a final auto attack. May indeed get the one here onto Mia as well. Just got to wait for 1 or 2 cooldowns to come back, but in the meantime, Dwayne Wade has cantered his way into the fight. Here's Shangdi teleporting into the bottom side of the action, getting himself a piece of it. And that is game over, appropriately enough, for Mia Khalifa Amma. I know it's supposed to be AMA. It's Amma, though, from now on.
I'll take it.
If he's going to make me say the name, I'm going to mispronounce it. Oh, Kiss the Chaos, almost landing the stun, but Shangdi nicely timing his Entomb, and Kiss the Chaos flashes away just in time to avoid death at the hands of a Renekton. Icy Dragon will take a horse to the glue factory in his place. Oh no, Kiss the Chaos, don't, you can't do anything here, just base.
You survived, take what you can get. Oh, Pew Pew in trouble.
Engaged on something fierce here. One more stack would stun him up, but he gets out of range of the Thundering Shuriken.
Poor Tatsuya just not having the amount of luck he wants here.
Yeah, it's been a rough game for Tatsuya. He picked this cannon and then was punished for his overaggression in the lane, and now he's getting punished for an overextension. He's buying some good time, though, with that Zonia's. Do some damage back on Icy Dragon as well. Actually make it out of here. The heal from Mia, the crescendo as well, stuns up both of his pursuers. And he'll make his way out of there alive, but Cracodon may yet be turning back onto his rescuers. Barai falls very quickly, and Khalifa gets out of there with just a few hundred hit points. Glacial Path will not be followed through from Shang-Di. Quite that brave, but Icy Dragon is. Good damage on the Kiss the Chaos, who drops to half health as soon as he comes back into a fight, having just left one nearly dead. And that'll be a secondary turret now under fire.
It looks like One Above is going to opt to back out. They are on the low end of things. Tatsushiba has returned to the lane.
I gotta give a lot of props to Icy Dragon. I mean, he certainly had some help from Krakadon. He did not accomplish this all on his own, but he's done a good job of coming out of that laning phase that he had a bit of a disadvantage in, and now he's 6-1. Gets the Chaos, another beautiful Scatter of the Week. Gets a double stun, actually, and keeps himself alive, even through the Lysandra ulti. Krakadon makes his way back into his pool party-themed tunnel to escape with his life. And Kiss the Chaos escapes with his. Tetsuya's going really aggressive here. Slicing Maelstrom gets popped, but he gets halted by a Ring of Frost almost immediately.
Tatsushiba is slicing Maelstrom. They're just not able to stay connected to anyone.
I mean, that one was... The one on a Pew Pew was the right play, and it was a little bit unfortunate that Pew Pew was able to just about create the distance, so the Thundering Shuriken didn't land, but that one was just a little bit over-aggressive, and I have to imagine that Tetsuya is getting maybe frustrated at this point.
I would imagine he is possibly getting a little tilted.
That was the word I was trying to avoid, but yeah, it could describe exactly what's going on. I mean, when you pick a champion to dominate the laning phase, and you just get continually ganked in such difficult to prevent ways. You know, Krakadon wasn't like coming in for the laning ganks or coming up the river or something. He was going all the way back into the enemy jungle and coming for these really creative and devastating gank paths. It's just, it feels like there's not much you could do about it.
I can definitely say it's frustrating to be in that position as someone who's played the top lane quite a bit, even if it has been a while. We're seeing Dragon is going to be up.
Chaos, meanwhile, on the other side of the map, grabbing himself a blue buff. And Raya and Mia look maybe for some sort of opportunity here, but Krakadon is busily counter-jungling. Is something we've been seeing him doing quite a bit this game. He's had some very, very thorough control of the map. While both top laners meet once again in the top lane, and Tetsuya really is not a match anymore for Icy Dragon. Maelstrom comes down, he's going to get the stun, but Icy Dragon is more than happy to keep this fight going, and that's what Tetsuya wants.
If he's not careful, this could be bad.
That is Hex Drinker popped, but Icy Dragon doesn't need it, as he's godlike under the turret.
Yeah, Titanic Hydro prop doing a lot of damage. Tatsushiba overestimating himself just a little bit.
I mean, they've lost control across the rest of the map as well. Krakadon and Shang-Di are able to just essentially walk at them, push them back out of their jungle. In the meantime, the Sipper wave clear is keeping the lane shoved up in the mid lane almost continually, chaining someone to that lane to keep it healthy. That someone being Burai right now, alongside well, the rest of his team as they show up, but been kind of the resident of mid lane recently.
We're seeing that Burai has opted for the QSS, looking to make sure he doesn't get CC locked.
A strange interaction with the Scatter Leaf there from Kiss the Chaos. You notice that it seems sort of like delayed as to when it tossed the ball?
A little bit.
Oh, there's the flash in from Icy Dragon. Kiss the Chaos may have taunted the Renekton a little bit too long. A triple knockup from Krakadon as Shang-Di causes chaos in the backline. Getting into his ulti right as the crescendo comes across and thus avoiding it entirely. Icy Dragon gets a kill in the front of the fight as well. And that's going to be a 2-for-0 trade going over to One Above. Oh, maybe a 3-for-0. A 3-for-0 as Shang-Di catches Tetsuya turning the wrong corner at the end of the fight.
Absolutely, and they also pick up that tier 2 turret, and they're wanting Baron as well. They are on the low end, though.
It's a real possibility for them to take this, though, considering Krakadon still has a lot of health to work with and can likely tank it up for the team. Icy Dragon as well, having the ulti available is no small thing. This will melt pretty fast.
It is going down quickly, but here comes Kiss the Chaos.
Two Titanic Hydras. Gonna do some good work. Pardon me. Baron has fallen, and that's going to be secured by Krakadon with almost no contest.
And we're seeing Shandy is able to get out using that glacial path.
So Baron going down, a 2-for-0 trade, a secondary turret falling. This is all good things for the side of One Above. We're looking to take one game above their opponents in this best of 3. How many different ways can I use that name in a joke?
This is
Count ways.
definitely one above taking the lead, as it were. And things started off looking pretty even. Top lane and the bottom lane for Ignitus Esports had the lead in terms of CS, but Crackodon able to apply that pressure in the top lane.
Yeah, and I gotta say, it's been down in the early game. I'd say their early game victories were almost entirely down to Crackodon's ability to just dominate the jungle. He's almost all of his ganks came from the enemy jungle because he was just in there so frequently, taking jungle camps, getting vision. Kiss of the Chaos is gonna fall there as a auto from Pew Pew finds its way in.
Excuse me.
Unless you were laughing at me for a moment there.
No, a little burp.
But I excuse you.
No, I completely agree with you. Crackodon has just had so much impact. His scoreline isn't amazing, but it's definitely he's been impactful with every single gank basically.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been involved with a lot of the kills recently. But back at the 15, 18-minute mark, somewhere around there, I remember saying that he had 100% kill participation because he did. He was involved in the first 8 kills of the game, which is the most important 8 kills of the game, probably.
And
Icy
Dragon able to basically take the turret while waiting out the Zanyas.
Yeah. And at this point, because of all the help that was given to the top lane early on, and because of all these different factors, he's able to get these solo kills now, and they're able to dive under these turrets, and Mia is going to fall, Crescendo accomplishing as close to nothing as make no odds. Kiss the Chaos manages to get a kill on the back of it, but it's onto the support, Janna. Kaiser will fall, and perhaps his fans will not be fond of that, but one way or the other, that is very much a victory.
And that is going to be the
actually a
GG.
victory overall for one above.
So one above taking game 1. And that'll be taking us to game 2. Let's take this opportunity to get into the lobby.
All right, give us just a few moments, folks. We'll get some tournament codes found, some teams together, and some more gameplay to you in just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be going to some music. And here we are. We are in the second match of our final round. This is one above now on the blue side, facing off against Ignitus Esports on the red side, with one above in the lead at 1-0.
And I'm thinking that there's going to be a little bit more of a focus on the jungle this time around for the side of Ignitus Esports. Maybe that's in the ban phase, in the pick ban phase rather. Maybe that's in game. Probably a combination of both, because Krakodon just had a brilliant performance in the early game of last match, being almost omnipresent across the map and getting some really devastating ganks all over the place.
Absolutely. Basically, every gank he had, a summoner was forced, with a couple of exceptions, I believe, once in the mid lane where Kiss the Chaos got a brilliant Scatter of the Week into a two-man stun.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it feels like that he had amazing impact. And there's that Rek'Sai ban.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I still feel like it was the jungling basics that Krakodon had down, though, that were what were really powerful. Rek'Sai did open up some gank paths for him that he did take full advantage of, but it was just the amount of presence that he had, the amount of vision he was gaining, his awareness of where his opposite number was. And I think it's just, as a team, Ignitus needs to come together a little bit more around Dwayne Wade and make his job a little easier, get some more vision in their own jungle, prevent Krakodon from making those sorts of plays. Regardless of
Absolutely.
who he's playing.
Does make sense. We're seeing all the bans coming out with one above not changing their bans at all.
Yes, that'll be an Elise picked up now. Krakodon going to be hopping onto an 8-legged jungler, most likely. I don't think we've seen a lane Elise in ages now.
It has definitely been a while.
Used to be a very powerful thing, back when her AP ratio on the Volatile Spiderling was superbly high, like far too high. It was a self-tracking skill shot that had really long range. It was a nuke at the same time. It was like a Nidalee spear that followed you, and it was a terrifying thing.
Very, very scary, especially for those who are already afraid of spiders.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in a while. So it will be the jungle Elise going over to Krakodon.
That does make the most sense by a significant margin. Tatsuya Shiba returning to the Kennen, possibly.
I think he did quite well on the Kennen in lane. He maybe got a little bit off kilter as we moved into some of the later fights, and there were a few questionable ulties. But in lane, for sure, he had an impact. The only problem was he was shut down by the repeated visits from Krakodon. Now, if he can get enough defensive vision to make that no longer an issue, I think the Kennen pick is still really good and not a bad option for him at all, despite the performance last game. But that's a big if. They've got to get back vision. They've got to get defensive vision against Krakodon's aggressive jungling playstyle.
Absolutely. Now this time, Icy Dragon probably going to change it a little bit. He's opting for more range rather than for the Renekton all-in. He did great in the mid and late game, but he obviously struggled a little bit in that early game.
And I would like, actually, to see Kaiser on the Bard here. We saw him earlier on Karma play an aggressive support, and he did quite well on it. His Janna was certainly not bad, but we didn't see nearly as much lane aggression coming out of him. And actually, Reverie and Mia managed to get a pretty sizable lead in lane, and it was what was holding their team even for a little while. One of the factors, at least. So I think maybe seeing Kaiser on something a little bit more aggressive than a Janna pick would be nice, but Lucian may be aggressive enough already with Pew Pew.
Absolutely. That does leave their options open, though. But that also does change it up. I believe we're seeing most of them. No, I think Icy Dragon did play the Gnar previously, so never mind. I'm about to say they haven't played any of these characters yet. But it's definitely a different style of character for Krakodon, so I'm looking forward to see how well he plays something without quite as much mobility as a Hecarim or as a Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and you could still theoretically make some really creative ganks happen with an Elise due to Repel. That's one of the things that people were really excited about for Elise. That's a tongue twister right there. But for Elise on release, they were really excited for a lot of the ganks that you could. I was trying to think of something that rhymes with Elise, and that means create. That you could lease. That doesn't quite work.
No, not quite.
All right, well, we're seeing the Kaiser off of Janna this game anyway, though, as that's taken away by Mia.
Karma's still open. We saw the Bard hover. There's a number of options he could go for.
I honestly would like the Bard the best, but that's only because I'm biased towards Bard. I love that character. Karma would make a lot of sense as well. Very powerful alongside Lucian, allowing him even more mobility during a fight, and he's super good at harass. Nami has its benefits as well. Tech College Blessing working wonders with the Light Slinger passive. There's a good few options here. Support is always rather open in terms of the options.
Absolutely. And we're seeing Shangdi on the Victor. So Shangdi as well, also changing up, playing 3 different characters in 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, the theme between all the characters has been the theme of being mid-range mages. Zillion has been kind of the oddball of the bunch, but he's still got sort of the same range of threat. And Victor's kind of the epitome of those. Brings good utility, brings good damage, has some slight mobility. That's kind of where he lacks the most, but just a very powerful all-rounder.
Absolutely.
And
we're seeing Kiss the Chaos in a character I have not seen in such a long time. I almost forgot she even existed.
Yeah, Katarina. Honestly, I'd say Katarina does. Whenever you talk about a matchup with a Katarina in it, you always want to talk about instant ways to break Katarina's ult. Now, I don't remember. Chaos Storm used to silence people, and that used to be a really powerful tool for a Victor against a Katarina.
I think
as soon as she started Death Lotus, you can drop Chaos Storm and interrupt it. I know it doesn't silence anymore, but did they give it the Kassadin treatment where it still interrupts channels?
I think it still interrupts channels. I want to say that's correct, but it's been a while since I've had to think about whether or not that's relevant.
Because if it does, that's a really, really brave pick. Because Victor has a literal instant answer to Death Lotus. But if it doesn't anymore, and I want to look this up right now.
I'm looking it up because I'm actually really curious.
I mean, that's a huge tilting point in this matchup, you know? Shangdi, I still think will have the edge one way or the other, if only because of the way the rest of the matchup plays out and the way, like, he's going to be able to push much faster than Kiss the Chaos will be able to with the Death Laser enhancement. He'll be able to get a lot more poke down. I think just in terms of the basic abilities, he'll have the edge, but...
Absolutely, I do agree with that. And it does still interrupt channels.
Then I'm really surprised at this pick then, because that just pushes Victor over the edge into being, actually, I'd say, something of a counter pick to Katarina.
Absolutely. Katarina's got to look for the openings where she has ult and he doesn't, or he's going to have to roam a lot.
Yeah, and it's going to be kind of difficult to do, though. I mean, Gnar is rather slippery, and Nami Lucian can interrupt the ults in many different ways. Nami more than Lucian, of course, but
absolutely.
Still.
Lucian's more like, I'm just going to dash away.
Yeah. But there is always the potentiality that Kiss the Chaos just gets snowballing somehow, you know, based off the mistakes that Shangdi may make in the lane. Now,
Absolutely.
That is something we haven't seen him do quite a lot of in the games that we've seen tonight. Shangdi has actually been rather consistent, but there is that possibility, and that's always something you got to look out for with the Katarina game.
Absolutely. He's one of those characters, if you let her get out of hand, it can be problematic. And with that, we are going to enter... We're actually in our 3-minute delay by about a minute and a half now, so we're actually going to take a small, minor break. We'll be back as soon as we're in-game. Oh, I had myself muted. Here we are, the second round and possibly final of the night. Final match, I should say.
Yeah, and I mean, if one above keep playing to the form they have been tonight, then I think we could even go so far as to say it's probably the finals. Ignitus really needs to change the way they played the early game when compared to the last match. Now, this is a fresh slate. We are once again back to even. The boards have been reset, and they have another shot. But it is going to be their last shot if they aren't careful.
Absolutely. It felt like they played the lanes pretty well, but Kiss the Chaos was getting out CS'd, and Tateshiba was overextending slightly, though, to be fair, it was a Rek'Sai gank coming up from really, really awkward positions that forced him basically to die.
Yeah, but that's the sort of thing the opponent can do. You know, like, that's not against the rules, and you've got to...
It's not cheating by degree, you're right.
You've got to find some way to play around it, and there are methods to that. And it's mainly to do with vision, I believe, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tetsuya, if Dwayne, and anybody else who's involved up in that top side has a bit more of a focus on vision control this match than they did the last. Since that would seem to be the solution to Krakadon being so ever-present in their own jungle.
Absolutely. Looking forward to see, speaking of Krakadon, looking forward to see how he plays. He's opting for a little higher damage jungler, though he's going to have less engage. Shang-Di.
Shang-Di already bullying Kiss the Chaos back. Makes a lot of sense. Katarina does not have very many favorable matchups, and I certainly wouldn't say that Victor is one of them.
Absolutely.
But once that power transfer is dropped, she does have the leeway to come to the wave and farm a bit.
Look, I have to see how well Dwayne responds to that mid lane and pressure. Because any help at all will be much appreciated for Kiss the Chaos.
Yeah, Aziz takes auto attack after auto attack, just trying to get some farm in, but did go with the Doran's shield start, actually, so anticipated these autos, and also the power transfer as well, both the initial and secondary cast. It'll block some damage from those, because Doran's shield now also blocks damage from single target spells as well. 8 damage from any auto attack or single target spell.
So I'm glad they did that, because it just blocking 8 damage from autos was just made it so weak.
Yeah, it wasn't really an option most people were using, and it's still a bit of a fringe pick, but makes some sense here for Kiss the Chaos, who drops dangerously though there, pops the potion, still wants to stick around in the lane, as he has got Dwayne coming in, but Shang-Di takes advantage of Kiss the Chaos, getting a bit greedy and forgetting that he's got a barrier.
That's gotta feel bad a little bit.
Burai going to be exhausted here as Pew Pew slows him even further with that Tidecaller's Blessing. There's the heal popped. A nice piercing light striking both Mia and Burai. That'll be the end of that trade. Burai eating his biscuit, and Pew Pew actually being able to hold on to his. That's a pretty definite advantage. As well as the heal. Probably more importantly, the heal. But the biscuit is there too.
That definitely gives Pew Pew lots of help there. Oh. Seeing Kiss the Chaos has returned to lane, but is already at half health.
Yeah, and this is a Shang-Di with barely any mana, and who hasn't based yet. He's still just sitting on that Doran's ring. Kiss the Chaos has spent what little pittance of gold he earned earlier on a refillable potion, just looking for even more ability to sustain in the lane.
Oh, he's being aggressive here.
Yeah, I don't really think he's going to kill the Shang-Di, though, and Shang-Di seems to know it. Not even popping the ghost there. He simply walks his way out of that. And now Burai is going to get aggressed on here. The spell shield blocking the Ardent Blaze. Maybe not the correct target as the piercing light comes across. There's a dash forward. Burai flashes into the bush to break vision. There's the shield from the Janna, just about staying alive, but Pew Pew gets the kill as Evan Flow keeps him healthy, but not healthy enough. Mia takes the kill back. Good flash push there. Right.
Absolutely. That does make it 1-for-1 though in that bottom lane.
Kill went to Pew Pew though on the side of one above, whereas it was Mia picking up the kill for Itis. So Janna with a kill, not going to be probably as impactful as a Lucian with one early on. Allows him to invest into a Cole and a longsword there.
Oh.
Shangdi still isn't based. This is still just him with the Doran's ring. Or
Kiss the. He is not based now.
Yeah, no. I was wondering maybe the prototype X core had been upgraded, but it hadn't been.
He's actually forced Kiss the Chaos to use that barrier, barely getting away with any HP.
And now summonerless, he's even more vulnerable here in the mid lane. I wouldn't be surprised if Krakodon were to show up after we see Shangdi get himself back to base with the upgraded Hex. Probably the Death Ray enhancement. Let's see exactly which one he went with. And so it's kind of difficult to see that. Which one did he go with here? Death Ray, indeed.
Let's come for a little more wave clear and poke at the same time. Oh, seeing Barai looking to farm some waves, but pew-pewing away.
That's an appropriate name to have while you're playing this. And Kiss the Chaos has to continue to itemize defensively here. After the refillable potion, he's gone with some magic resistance. Krakodon is on the bottom side for a Cocoon, and Barai, not spell shielding it in time, is going to feel the pain. Some very sharp pincers sink into his backside.
You can't block CC if you already CC'd.
It's quite true. Unless you're Gangplank.
That cheater.
He has oranges. They're not cheating. They're citrus. There's a difference. Citrus is the ultimate medicine in the world of Runeterra, or whatever they call it nowadays. Oh my god, Shangdi has double Kiss the Chaos' CS right now.
And he's able to shove that wave up so hard, preventing Kiss the Chaos from doing any kind of roaming.
I mean, I'm just a little perplexed, honestly, at the Katarina pick. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense picking it into the Victor. You already know that Shangdi is a competent laner. He's gonna do just fine in this lane here. Kaiser is Rona from the bottom. Dwayne Wade is looking to camp. I mean, we've seen Dwayne Wade mid twice now, so maybe it was an idea of just take the bad matchup, but send Dwayne there over and over again and try and camp the lane so that you get Kiss the Chaos rolling. But the first one was just a 1-for-1 trade, and now they seem to have read that, and they've even pulled up Nami.
Actually, it was a 1-for-0 trade. Shangdi didn't die.
Shangdi didn't even die. Oh, well, that's even more disastrous.
Definitely
So, yeah.
not the way you want things to go.
The plan has backfired. Something fierce here.
Kiss the Chaos does not even have his ultimate. He's still level 5.
Tetsuya may be reliving some memories from the last game with Krakodon now waiting in the tri-bush behind him for the perfect opportunity to strike. I think he's waiting for Tetsuya to use the Lightning Rush. Yeah, there it is. Coming in now for that Cocoon as the camera swaps to the bottom side for a piercing light from Pew Pew.
It looks like Tatsuya Shiba is able to get away just fine. A little gank in mid lane.
Light on to Shangdi, but the Ghost will be answering it. Chaos Storm comes down, but it just as Kiss the Chaos goes back onto the minion wave. Icy Dragon will actually finish the channel on the teleport, though, because he wants to flash it onto Kiss the Chaos. But there's a barrier available once again, and that's going to be a kill. Much needed for Kiss the Chaos, but he tries to snowball it forward, not realizing he's one auto from death, perhaps, going down. But at least Tetsuya teleporting in to finish off his prey for him.
Absolutely. Grabbing a 2-for-1 there. So something very good for Ignitus Esports.
And one of the kills going over to Kiss the Chaos is really helpful for him. He needs all the help he can get now coming out of this lane, which is just been getting worse and worse as the game wears on.
Absolutely. A little bit of aggressive play from Icy Dragon. Did not predict the barrier from Kiss the Chaos. Little dive here in the bottom lane.
Bottom side, Exhaust dropped on Kaiser to hold him up a little bit. Big flashes away from the Aqua Prison. Now Pew Pew is looking to get an answer back on Burai here. Krakodon can cross the distance. They may have a kill, but it's too much distance to cross. So Burai will escape with his life.
I did see that Pew Pews were doing a lot of damage there too, Burai.
Indeed, that's a longsword advantage he had up over Burai, and a level as well, as he's hit that level 6 mark before Burai was able to. It's just now equalizes the minion wave crash into the turret. Meanwhile, up in top lane, Tetsuya's been doing a pretty darn good job, actually, of playing the lane more safely this time around, while still getting an advantage for himself. So props to him. Rakadon has not had nearly as much luck up there. The story of this game is much more focused on the mid lane. Shangdi has pulled forward most obscene amount at this point.
Oh. Kiss-Gas getting a little hit in there. Definitely.
With that Aether Wisp and a few levels, he's actually starting to chunk a little bit.
He is opting for kind of splitting his build a little bit. He's got pieces for Abyssal Scepter and for what I mentioned would end up being Luden's Echo.
Yeah, I think he's just going with whatever he can afford most optimally per back because of how much of a deficit he's been playing at for most of this game.
That does make sense.
He's getting these quick trades in now, and that's the way Katarina likes to play against a range matchup like that. So perhaps we see him pull back into this lane. That would certainly solve a lot of the worries for Ignitus, who otherwise are doing quite well. Well, I say that. Pew Pew still has a good lead on the bottom side as well.
Absolutely.
Morlove is actually coming out ahead now in the bottom lane.
The lane that's only definitively ahead right now is Tatsuya Shiba in that top lane.
Yep.
We see that Icy Dragon has picked up a Hex Drinker, so that is going to make him a little more difficult to kill.
It's the Chaos looking for a roam, but Icy Dragon not nearly far enough out of position for that to work out. Guy's going to get aggressed on here as the Ardent Blaze doesn't actually get blocked. Just a few bullets from the culling get voided by that spell shield, and that's going to be a flash burn from Barai. Getting himself to safety at the cost of that summon.
So Kiss the Dragon returning, or sorry, not Kiss Dragon, Kiss the Chaos returning to the mid lane. Why did I say Kiss the Dragon? Probably because we haven't seen a dragon, I don't know.
They have a dive on the bottom side. Wade hanging out near the mid lane is not in any sort of position to counter it, and Rakadon has been waiting in that tri-bush for a little while now. Whether or not his patience pays off for him. And the tide's spilling forth onto Barai. There's the monsoon, and they are running as best they can from this fight. Rakadon repels forward, pulls the flash immediately from Mia. But Dwayne Wade has now made his way down to the bottom side and finds Kaiser may want a piece of that fish, but it looks like he won't be getting it, and Dwayne Wade gets the benefit of a heal from Barai, who returns to the fight to save his jungler.
That was a nice bit of chain CC coming out of one above there.
It very much was. Getting Kaiser to safety that out of a very hairy situation. Oh no.
Speaking of CC, Icy Dragon not quite getting what he wanted there. Oh, that's why I said Kiss the Dragon, because I was thinking about Icy Dragon when it switched to Kiss the Chaos going to mid lane. It all makes sense now.
He's really looking for an opportunistic few kills here. I mean, this is exactly what a Katarina needs. This catapults the Katarina further into the game. And he's got to be kicking himself for not being at that fight earlier. Whether or not he really realistically could, still got to feel bad to not be there while there were like 2 or 3 low health targets. It's exactly the sort of thing you look for.
Absolutely.
The storm comes down just for a little bit of presence in the lane, I suppose.
Still getting some good poke in. Kiss the Chaos actually doing a lot better now, though he's still massively behind in CS.
I'd say that's partially just a dip because Shangdi is building the Hex Tech core upgrades, which gives some AP, but not very much compared to proper items. So once we see Shangdi itemize into something like an Abyssal perhaps, or a Lichbane if he's feeling spicy about it, then I imagine the difference will be a bit more plain to see.
It'll probably end up being Abyssal if I had to guess, but
Most likely. That is kind of the item of choice nowadays for most mid laners.
actually, though there are still a number of good items that Victor can build into.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of items, Kiss the Chaos, we're working towards Luden's Echo, I imagine. And give him a little more burst.
Going into another 1v1 here with Shangdi, who still hasn't been able to base recently, but that may prompt him to do so as the Death Lotus brings him down below half. Looks like he'll take that opportunity to head home.
And we'll give some Kiss the Chaos a little more breathing room. He needs all the room he can get there to catch up in CS.
Yeah, breathing has been pretty difficult for him, as Shangdi has done a great job of smothering him in that lane. Become harder of late, but now that he's got some proper itemization going on, actually shooting over the Swifty Boot, so he's still lacking a little bit in damage potentially. With 4-man gank on the bottom side, but 2 ultimates are going to hold them at bay. Icy Dragon now teleporting in as well. Tetsuya is going to be matching that. The Slicing Maelstrom lands into Pew Pew. He gets stunned up. Icy Dragon going to be stunned up as well there, but Pew Pew manages to flash out on the hunt now to try and chase after Krakadon. They're splitting their targets a little bit here on the side of Ignitus. A little bit scattered. Krakadon lands a beautiful cocoon on Tetsuya there. Max range. Shangdi's going to be keeping the chase going. That is the Chaos thrown over the wall. Finalizes the kill. Kiss the Chaos is looking for a few opportunistic kills here, but nobody goes down, and that's a double kill, a triple kill for the victor. And Kaiser and Krakadon make it out with their lives. Is this the Quadra? It is indeed. Close to a Penta, but Pew had already taken
Oh,
time.
we got a little disconnect from Shane. Yeah.
Oh man, that was on the edge of a beautiful fight for Kiss of the Chaos as well. But he couldn't get any kills and get exhausted. Actually, he didn't even get exhausted. Kaiser held on to that somehow through that whole fight.
Kiss the Chaos was so close to getting the resets he needed.
So very close. But Shangdi comes out with a quad kill. He's back with us.
That does put one above firmly in the lead, though, with that dragon and 5 kills.
I can imagine the exchange in the team comms right there. Give me the Penta, give me the Penta. Penta gets taken. I'm out. Screw you guys.
Pew Pew is the biggest thief, as it turns out.
I mean, that's certainly not going to make life easy for Kiss the Chaos if you return to France. Icy Dragon now coming in to toss Kiss the Chaos up against the nub of the turret. Wallets in there as well. A boulder flies out, but doesn't quite get the kill.
Speaking of difficult life.
Dwayne Wade flying into the fight finds himself on the wrong end of a laser, a death laser. Isn't really a right end to that, I guess.
A laser of death.
Well, I guess the right end of a death laser would be the end that the fielder holds and points it towards other people with.
That does indeed make sense. Kiss the Chaos getting poked out, but really, really wants the gold.
Oh, there it is. Shangdi DMW is dominating. And for good reason. The man just picked up a quadra kill. And now he's starting to itemize a good amount of damage. Medium, large rod, big needles, and large in his inventory right now.
He is basically his entire team right now, though, in terms of gold. Or in terms of kills, at least. I'm not sure about gold. We do see that Pew Pew is farming quite well. Oh, a little ghost coming out of Dwayne there.
A lot of movement speed to throw his way. They're going to send him back into the team with the hooves of a horse. They're even going to be popping them on soon just to make sure there is no one-for-one shenanigans going on. But this may cost him the turn on the top side, may even cost him the kill on the Tetsuya Shiba, who does not have the Zonias, but he does have the stun and Icy Dragon holding him up underneath the turret. Icy Dragon may just die to the minions. Tetsuya gets the kill as the minions finish the job. Now Kaiser, pitching up an impressive dive, has to make his way out of here. Have to leave Krakadon to whatever fate he finds. Telling down. Dude is looking for the kill on to Kiss the Chaos, though, and he's gonna find it, and they may actually be able to continue to fight this as Kiss the Chaos going down leaves the rest of his team without much to fall back on. The King flies out, but Tetsuya Shiba is having none of that. Sidestepping it and tossing out a Thundering Shuriken. He brings the spider down. Oh, Pew Pew over the wall. Kaiser from behind with the ebb and flow. He wanted that blue buff, and he took it. Oh, there's the heal from Pew Pew. He dashes over the wall. Burai flashes to follow, though, and there's the shut down off a boomerang toss.
Kills everywhere.
Does Kaiser go for the 1v1? Is Kaiser, please. Oh, he has Shanghai, or Shangdi, coming in for the Shanghai.
Speaking of Shangdi, Shangdi going in.
He's chasing after Burai. He gets a little bit of movement speed off of that enhanced power transfer, and my god, this man is doing damage right now. One more ability will spell doom, or perhaps not. But the power transfer and the follow-up auto attack didn't have the burst necessary as Burai gets away just barely at the back of the heel.
We're looking to clear out that top wave a bit. Push it in.
Probably get themselves an outer turret, I'd imagine.
Kiss the
real
Chaos and
possibility.
Icy Dragon going at it, but Icy Dragon has lots of magic resist.
And Kiss the Chaos does not have lots of damage. Icy Dragon will put him in an early grave and continue the duel here with Dwayne Wade, having not really lost much in the 1v1 against Katarina. Let's see if Shiba shows up to top lane in time to defend that turret, or maybe just in time to lose his life as Chaos Storm comes down, one more tick doing a massive amount of damage, and even a toss against the wall from the Gnarl seems a good measure. Icy Dragon really didn't want that kill to escape them.
And with that, that is probably going to be the top lane turret going down.
Indeed. Likely some other turrets very soon. As Crackodon is showing up the bottom lane, getting a good push on down there. And honestly, with the help of Lucian, could maybe go for a secondary turret that will be defended by Burai and Mia. But yeah, they can't defend all fronts at once, not when they're losing this much gold this quickly.
Absolutely. Things are definitely as uneven as they currently could be at the moment. Kiss Gas getting stunned up.
The barrier plus the shield from Mia does keep him alive and manages to Shunpo his way out of there, but just instantly, basically vaporized.
People
quite all
thinking
the
about
way,
going
but
in there, but
most of his health vaporized. Did a vanishing trick. Drive doing some decent damage there on a pew pew. Ring comes through for a little bit more. But I don't know if decent is going to be enough to carry the day in this game. We're already at a 10k gold deficit in 20 minutes in.
definitely need a bit more than decent at this current rate of events.
At this juncture, which is such a great word.
It's an amazing word. Ooh, Kiss the Chaos.
Instantly vaporized, this time all the way. Pew Pew going to be flashing into the wall to get himself into the safety of the wolf pit there. Mia Khalifa dropping the monsoon, flashing into the wall. This is the same story we saw last game. This time he escapes again because of a perfectly timed Eye of the Storm. I think we saw basically that exact same flash at that exact same amount of health from Mia. Like 2 games ago, was it? Something along those lines.
I think so, yes. Oh, here, Icy Dragon going in a little bit, just to zone and poke.
I think it was just the last Janna that you saw flashed over that wall in that way. I had a strange sense of deja vu, and that's the only way I can explain.
I think
But it was a secondary
Kaiser
turret.
played Janna last, so that was
Yeah,
it.
it may have been Kaiser then.
And that is another turret going down. It looks like one above, going for the next dragon, which is just about to spawn. And nothing wrong with that. They are extremely far ahead at 11k gold.
It will be an Infernal Drake, which will only do more to catapult them further ahead. Particularly Shangdi's Victor, who now is stacking AP like a madman. When the Rylai is completed, and likely going for what appears to be a Lickbane, I think. Yeah, it's got the Sheen, it's the only item I can think of that would build out of that makes any sense. I said that was the spicy Victor build earlier. It's certainly powerful. It's not exactly unfamiliar to the meta, just not the one you see most often.
I can definitely see how it could fit into his kit, but it's definitely not the most common item we see by any degree. But Ignited Esports definitely having a little bit of a struggle here. Kiss the Chaos getting CC locked.
And he's just not a match for anybody at this point. Icy Dragon may yet get the kill, but he gets Chilling Smite before he can create the distance for that boomerang. But he's still more than happy to toss a few Dwayne Wade's way.
Definitely happy to share his boomerang love.
He's got an overstock of boomerangs. He's just giving them away for free.
Why don't
Got
you
too
love my
many.
boomerangs? They are well made, and they always come back. Unless you
No.
miss.
Just the big ones, the Q ones.
Oh yeah, that's
The
true.
little tiny ones, they don't come back. They just hit their target and disappear.
They hit the target and then they keep
Endless
them.
ammunition,
The
that is
dirty thieves. Ooh, Tatsu Shiba getting a little engaged there.
Yeah, because the Chaos is coming up here on the Crackodon as well, but in the meantime, they're losing a turret on the bottom side of the map, and Crackodon might not even fall. The death load just comes down, but Kiss the Chaos is just doing almost no damage at this point. There's a final bouncing blade to finish it off, but they did lose a secondary turret bot. They may yet lose an inhibitor turret bot. If this falls, the inhibitor is a realistic possibility. That was not worth it.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with that sentiment. 1 kill for 2 turrets and an inhibitor is not a good trade by any degree.
Much definitively, Shangdi is now dropping the Chaos Run just for a bit of zone control. Dwayne Wade is going to ult in, but not even terrifying anyone with that. Didn't even land onto Shangdi. Was just a little bit too far away from where he targeted it. He's going to get melted as soon as he finds himself in the front lines.
And with that, we're going to see one above retreat, taking tons of objectives there.
This has been the Shangdi show this game. He's just come out of this laning phase where he had some pretty solid dominance over the Katarina. And now in a lot of these fights, he's getting huge burst combos off. We did see him get caught out in a 3v1 earlier, but other than that, he's been very much reliable.
Absolutely.
Ooh, the spell shield lasts just long enough to block that Gnar ulti, but the culling comes through, and damn, Pew Pew had enough damage even just off of that. Oh, Chaos is now looking for a few more cleanup kills, but just about breaking Icy Dragon's.
Icy Dragon's quite durable.
Oh, but he tries enough distance with the hop. Oh, there's the jump poke forward. There's the dagger plus the Luden's proc. We'll see if Kiss the Chaos can clean up a second kill here into Pew Pew, who's not nearly as tanky as Icy Dragon was. They're diving into the turret for this. That's a double kill for the Katarina, but likely will fall in. Answer, yes indeed.
Oh, see, Shiny actually went down too in the mid lane. Looks like one above getting a little greedy there.
One above biting off a little more than they could chew in a few lanes. They can afford to at this point, I guess. They want to afford to do that though, but they can't afford to, and that's the comfort they fall back on. So, yeah, getting caught out there off of prison didn't quite land though, and even at it landed. I think even just the Jana Monsoon was maybe a little bit of an overreaction, but it did certainly put a stop to the catch.
Yeah, so we're seeing one above starting to respawn, coming out. We see Krakadan still being. He isn't quite as impactful as he was the last game, but he's still having a very, very good game.
Yeah, the last game was a brilliant performance by Rek'Sai. You see why it got banned this time around. But this one has been more Shang-Di's show.
Absolutely.
Looking forward from Icy Dragon. Kiss the Chaos is just wet tissue paper at this point. He crumbles apart at the slightest nudge. The toss against the wall. Dwayne Wade going to be going down for the double. Meanwhile, Baron is falling to the other members of one above. We're just coming up aces all over the map right now.
Yep.
Yoshiba is going to look for the kill here into Shang-Di, but he's kind of flanked already. Even if he manages to get this kill, I don't see him getting out of here alive, but he does have Furai alongside him, and the Boomerang is going to be finishing off Shang-Di, but Icy Dragon turns his attention on Furai, and even in a 3v1, his attentions are not to be stopped. Now he's actually going to turn on Mia Khalifa. Oh my god, this man is just unstoppable. Tatsuya's going to go down for the double kill, and there's actually not the triple. That's the cleanup from Pew Pew.
That is an ace. Second ace. This one at the 26-minute mark. This could possibly be game. Though, never mind. Icy Dragon just went down.
I mean, even with Icy Dragon being down, Dwayne Wade is going to leap into his death. And Ghostly Stampede, and that be the death not only of the Hecarim, but also...
Oh, that is the GG's coming out at the 27-minute mark. That is going to be one above, taking it home. Congratulations to them for this week.
All right, and a entertaining series, to say the least. A lot of good League of Legends played tonight. It was fun as always casting alongside you, Effect.
Absolutely. And on that note, we're going to give a nice little shout out to our sponsors. Starting off, we do have Battlefly, which is the service that we use basically to help create, manage, run our tournaments. They help produce our tournament codes and all kinds of fun things. Very easy to use. Second, we do have it's LOL History app, which is basically a phone app on iPhone and on Android, and it lets you. Basically, it functions just like LolKing or na.opd.gg. And last but certainly not least, we have Vibi, which is the service that you can basically use. It's not really a service, I should say. It's a website that helps you, I should say, create highlight videos. As for the one who's quiet, that could be me. My mic has been acting out of sorts lately, so it's kind of fluctuating on the volume.
Yeah, in terms of volume balancing, I'm Octavian. Effect is the other one talking. Which one of us was the quiet one? If you wouldn't mind letting us know. Then for the next broadcast, because we do these weekly, so it would be nice to have those settings down. Then for the broadcast, it would be nice to know one way or the other.
You're the loud one. Yours not helpful.
Yeah, the chat is off time from the stream, so.
Okay, Octavian is
directly
quiet.
addressing one of us is the only way to let us know. I'm the quiet one, all right. Well, we'll keep that in mind for the next broadcast. Effect can mess around with the gain on the mics and such, and we'll make sure to rectify that.
Absolutely. To continue off where I was, Vibi, basically it's a website. You put in a video, any videos you want, and you create highlight videos without any additional software. You just do it straight on their website. Very easy to use, very simple, and that's all there really is to it. on that note, thanks for coming out to watch, guys. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we can see you guys again next week. If you want to play, you can definitely just go to our websites and if you're using OBS, it's the game volume in general is too low. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Typically we don't have too many complaints about volume, but we can turn it up for next week's broadcast a little bit. And hopefully we'll see you guys again next week. Really appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and sign off, guys. Good night.
Have a good night, everybody.